All right, let's dive in. Today, we're going on a journey that literally goes beneath the surface. A descent that doesn't just test the limits of what a person can endure, but completely shatters the scientific certainties of an entire era. This is a story where the map is just a theory, and the territory, well, the territory is a terrifying new reality. So our story really kicks off in a chapter with the pretty ominous title, De Profundis, which is Latin for from the depths. And trust me, they mean that literally. Our explorers are in what the book calls the very deepest of known depths. They're so far from the world we know, the sun, the moon, the stars, that all those things have started to feel like, and I quote, mere jokes. This isn't just some deep cave, it's a whole other world. And this really gets to the heart of what we're talking about today. This is the big question staring our explorers, Professor Lidenbrock and his nephew Axel, right in the face. See, they went down there armed with all the best scientific knowledge of the 19th century. So what happens when what you see, what you feel, what you experience firsthand tells you that all of that science is just fundamentally wrong? Okay, to really wrap your head around the scale of their discoveries, you first have to understand just how impossibly, unbelievably remote they are. This is not some casual hike underground. They're in a place no human was ever meant to see.
Now get this. This is the sheer precision of their impossible situation. The professor calculates they are 85 leagues, that's about 250 miles, southeast of where they started in Iceland. But more importantly, they are 16 leagues, that's nearly 50 miles straight down. They're so deep they are literally standing on solid ground underneath the Atlantic Ocean. Think about it. Storms could be raging, ships sailing, and whales swimming way, way up above their heads. And this quick little exchange between the nephew Axel, who can't believe it, and the super confident professor just captures the whole mind-bending reality of the thing. This isn't a guess. According to every single instrument they have, the compass, the math, it's a fact. They are under the ocean. So this brings us to the first major conflict of their journey. And it's not with some underground monster, it's with an idea. It's this massive clash between what all the textbooks said should be happening and what was actually happening to them right then and there. Okay, so here's problem number one for 19th century geology. The accepted theory was that for every foot you go down, the temperature goes up. Simple. So at their depth, the heat should be a blistering 2,732 degrees Fahrenheit. I mean, that's hot enough to melt rock. They should be walking through a furnace. But in reality, the thermometer reads a very comfortable 82 degrees. And this is the professor's big I told you so moment. He doesn't just question the theory, he declares it dead. The smartest scientific minds of the day, the savants, they weren't just a little off. They were wrong by thousands of degrees. Their fundamental law of nature, as he puts it, it's just a mistake.
Just let that number sink in for a second. 2,705 degrees. That is the margin of error we're talking about. This isn't a minor tweak to the science books. This is a complete demolition of a core belief. And they proved it just by being there.
And then there's the second puzzle, the pressure. By all rights, the sheer weight of the air above them should be immense. I mean, enough to crush them flat. And yeah, they can feel it a little, a bit of a pain in the ears, but they are very much alive. In fact, they're adapting. So once again, reality is proving to be way, way stranger and a lot more survivable than theory ever predicted.
So with all these old scientific rules basically thrown out the window, the professor starts calculating their next big goal, reaching the actual center of the planet. And the answer he comes up with? A jaw-dropping 5.5 years.
To put that into perspective for us today, that's a longer trip than a one-way mission to Mars. It just brilliantly shows you the insane scale of the planet right here beneath our feet and the sheer audacity of what they're trying to do. Their biggest obstacle isn't just science anymore. It's time itself.
But, tearing up science textbooks is one thing. The Earth has other, much more immediate dangers. And this is the point where the journey pivots from this cool, intellectual puzzle to a raw, terrifying fight for survival. So here's where it all goes wrong. They're feeling confident, maybe a little too confident. Axel tells himself there are not two roads. He thinks the path forward is obvious, it's clear. It's an assumption that makes him feel safe, but it's exactly the kind of assumption that gets you killed down there. It makes him careless.
And right here, this is it. The academic adventure is over, and the terror begins. In one simple, horrifying sentence, Axel's whole world just collapses. He was looking at some interesting rocks, got a little ahead of the others, and when he turned around, there was nothing. Just empty darkness and the sound of his own breathing.
This is the moment of pure, undiluted panic. The one thing that had been their guide, their lifeline, this fateful stream that showed them the way, is gone. He reaches down to touch the water, and his hand just hits dry, rough rock. In that 1 second, he realizes he hasn't just lost his uncle and their guide, he's lost the path itself. He is totally, completely, and utterly lost, miles beneath the surface of the earth. So as we kind of wrap up this piece of their journey, what we're seeing is that they're not just fighting one battle. They are fighting a war on two completely different fronts at the same time.
On one hand, you've got the scientific frontier. They are pioneers, literally rewriting the laws of heat and pressure with every single step they take. But on the other hand, they're also just men, facing the most primal human frontier there is, the absolute terror of being lost, of being alone in a silent, endless dark. And that kind of leaves us with a final question to think about. In any great exploration, whether it's to the center of the Earth or to the farthest star, what is the real final frontier? Is it the physical world out there that we're trying to figure out,